Hello and welcome back to Billy Ho Sports Breeders' Cup Classic Update. Today's profile, we're putting the spotlight on the 2023 Kentucky Derby winner, Mage. And the mission for today is to take a look at Mage in the races going back to the Florida Derby and on to the beginning of the three-year-old career, unraced it too. So we'll go back to January on through the Travers to see if this Jorge Delgado trained colt still has the juice to compete for the Classic with the big boys, or did he peak too early in the spring? Stay tuned as we unravel those performances and much, much more. We're going to weigh Mage's chances to win the Classic. Thank you for joining me today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. If you just discovered Billy Ho Sports, go check my channel out because also do, in addition to thoroughbred horse racing content, I have daily fantasy sports content for PGA and NFL, course previews, players, DraftKings, all kinds of good stuff there. So if you like playing the ponies, you're a gambler like me, recreationally, uh, take a look at it. And without further ado, I thank you for joining me. Smash the like, leave a comment. Let's go. Okay, I suppose if any horse should have a chip on his shoulder, it would be a horse like Mage. The colt started his career with a bang, breaking maiden first time out at quite a value. We're watching the race. Actually, I went back and recorded it for you. I wanted to look at it and stumbled out of the gate a little bit, but went right out. I mean, raced out to the lead, and we're picking it up here around the far turn or somewhere in that range, and went right to the lead. Never looked back. Hit the turn for home and cleared them out 11-1 shot. Very, very nicely done. Went on to the Fountain of Youth Stakes where he ran fourth. And then coming up, we're watching Florida Derby time. What a great move around the corner. And this was where it's made the splash impact for me. Took that lead and then was run down late, obviously, by Forte, who he looked like he was going to beat all the way down the stretch. So credit to Forte for closing that ground. Forte just chews up the dirt in the last couple hundred yards of any races. So it just looks like he's never going to get there until he gets there. But on to the Kentucky Derby. Was kind of I don't know if you want to call him wise guy horse, but was amongst the top 5 choices or so, and won the race. Mage closes in the run for the Roses, was similar to the last race. He got to jump on him this time and took home the prize and took the lead coming home and was able to hold off Late Charges, Angel of Empire, and the lot. So then comes around to the Preakness as a heavy favorite. And I spoke at this in other videos. National Treasure was my choice in that race. I thought coming in fresh, it would get the lead, and then it did exactly what I thought it would do, which rarely happens for me, but it got out to the lead, set reasonable fractions. Then Mage just was not able to catch up in the end, didn't have enough horse to run down National Treasure. He was just able to hold off. So anyway, that third place showing was a solid effort and leads us into the Haskell, which is next. Once again, Mage runs his race, makes the move into the stretch, and is out on the lead on the outside. Looks pretty good, briefly taking the lead, but was no match for Go Rocket Ride, who ultimately took him to task down the stretch. And Go Rocket Ride in the defense was coming in off a 48-day layoff after his win in the Affirm Stakes, and was just much the fresher horse. So, if you want to give it an excuse, but a third place finish, I don't ever knock in these giant graded stakes races because, anybody can have the right day and get the job done. So not a big deal. But the problem was the Travers did not run very well. It was a muddy track. But if you look at the opening, he was pinched at the start of the race, pushed back to 7th after 6 furlongs in this 1.25 grade 1, and just never fired. It just wasn't his day. Combination of muddy track and all this other stuff, and something I'll get to in just a second. So anyway, this is it. Mage was ridden by Javier Castellano in the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness Stakes and the Haskell. But then the Hall of Famer landed on Arcangelo for the Travers, which probably wise move. But so they connections go back to Luis Saez, who rode Mage in the Florida Derby and was quite familiar with the horse. But Saez suffered a fractured wrist and a dislocated shoulder just 3 days before the Travers. So they had to turn to one Flavien Prat. Don't get me wrong, Flavien Prat, excellent jockey, top-notch jockey, premier jockey, took the mount for the Travers, but the owner felt like the chemistry just wasn't there between horse and rider. So they needed to regroup, and with this colt, might be going under the radar, actually. So be on the lookout for Mage first Saturday in November. Maybe we'll get some news about him, and hopefully been working hard leading up to it. So like I say, just keep on grinding and subscribe to Billy Ho Sports, and all will be well in my world. And best of luck to you this weekend if you're playing the ponies. Best of luck to you leading into the Breeders' Cup. Be on the lookout for much, much more content. See you soon.